The New Jersey Devils had one of the worst starts of any NHL team this year. After only 2 games, fans were infuriated with the organization. Years of losing combined with distrust of the coaching staff led to understandable anger, but then suddenly, the tides changed. Since Game 2 of the season, the Devils hold a record of 15-1-0. They've become an absolutely dominant team, boasting some of the best team stats and analytics at both ends of the ice, while players such as Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, and Nico Hischier have flourished. In this video, we determine why the Devils have had such a drastic change in quality since the last season, examine the roster, and find out whether the success is sustainable long term. Before we get into it, I want to thank today's sponsor. Betstamp is a free sports betting resource that allows bettors to maximize their odds. Line shopping with Betstamp allows you to find the best deals for bets. Bettors can view the major sportsbooks available and ensure that they're playing at the ones with the best odds. Betstamp also offers verified bet tracking. Their verification ensures that neither you nor anyone else can lie about their bets, allowing you to tail other users' picks, buy others' picks, or even sell your own betting picks royalty-free. Betstamp is completely free to use. Sign up with the link in the description to maximize your betting odds. Last season, the Devils finished 5th last in the NHL. Their 27-46-9 record was one of a team that would have been expected to have a whole host of problems, because that's usually the case for teams that finish that low in the standings. That wasn't the case for the 2021-22 Devils. In fact, almost all of their problems can be directly linked to one issue. At 5v5, the Devils were 14th in the NHL in expected goal differential. In all situations, they ranked 18th. Those are stats typical of a fringe playoff team, not a bottom 5 team. So, what went wrong? Going into the season, the expected starting goalies were Mackenzie Blackwood and Jonathan Bernier. By the end of the season, the two had only played a combined 35 games due to injury. That meant that AHL goalies Nico Dawes, John Gillies, Andrew Hammond, and Akira Schmid all had to step in to do their parts. By the end of the year, combined between all 6 goalies, the Devils had a negative 54 goals saved above expected. Over the course of the 82-game season, the Devils conceded 54 more goals than they should have, and never really won a game off of the back of a quality goaltending performance. All 6 New Jersey Devils goalies in 21-22 provided absolutely no help to an otherwise relatively solid group of skaters. The 2021-22 New Jersey Devils could have easily been a fringe playoff team, as they could have earned 5, 10, or even 15 more regular season wins if they had just had a league average goaltender. While goaltending was by far the biggest issue, it wasn't the only one. A weak power play, Dougie Hamilton's struggles, and a long-term injury to team superstar Jack Hughes were all contributing factors to the failures of the Devils. The team wasn't poorly constructed, but certainly had lots of room for improvement. In acquiring Vitek Vanacek, John Marino, and Andre Palat, among others in the offseason, the team sought out to be a better team in 2022-23. What needs were successfully addressed in the offseason that made the Devils the team they are today? The most important acquisition to this point has been Vitek Vanacek. Throughout his 11 games played thus far, Vanacek has provided actual NHL-level goaltending to the Devils. His .4 goals saved above expected isn't anything special, but it is a massive improvement upon every other goalie that played last year for New Jersey. His .916 save percentage is also a huge improvement, as only Jonathan Bernier's .902 was even above .900 for the Devils last season. Vanacek is a good goalie, playing well in a way that no goalie did for the Devils last year. However, his good stats can't be entirely attributed to just him being better than who played last year. The defense is also hugely improved. John Marino was the key defensive addition from the offseason, and so far, he's been utilized as a top pairing defenseman. Marino was acquired from Pittsburgh in exchange for defenseman Ty Smith and a 2023 third-round pick, a move that essentially upgraded a 6 or 7D to a 2D. His influence offensively is minimal, as it has been throughout much of his career. But Marino has been one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL since he debuted in 2019, and is now a key cog in what is already a very solid defensive group. Funnily enough, their most expensive offseason pickup has barely even been needed for the success of this team. Andre Palat was signed to a 5-year, $30 million deal during free agency. He played only 6 games for the Devils before picking up an injury that has sidelined him since. The expectation is that he will be back around the beginning of the new year, but with how well each line is playing, it's hard to see where the Devils would even be able to fit him in. Speaking of the forward lines, they've been a huge factor in the Devils' success. Jesper Bratt has emerged as a true star talent, with first overall picks Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier performing at their expected star levels. The unique strength of their forward group comes with the team's depth. Of the 14 forwards that have played for New Jersey this season, 12 are scoring at a 30-plus point pace. For context, last year's Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche had 8 30-plus forwards by the end of the season. 9 of New Jersey's forwards are also scoring at a half point per game, which Colorado had 6 of by the end of the season. It's very possible that some of New Jersey's forwards trail off in production, but they would need to regress quite a bit to produce worse than Colorado last season, and that's the team that won the Stanley Cup. It would take a ridiculous dip in form for the forward group to be anywhere close to being considered bad, one that is incredibly unlikely to happen. The defense is very similar to the forward group in its construction. Dougie Hamilton is the flashy piece, like what Jack Hughes would be to the forwards. The rest of the group is generally pretty boring, but immensely effective. Jean Marino, Jonas Siegenthaler, and Ryan Graves have all never really scored much, but are all making good productions offensively this year while continuing to excel defensively. Marino's acquisition also allowed Damon Severson to slide further down in the lineup. Severson has been a great play driver from the blue line throughout his NHL career. However, he has also been prone to big defensive mistakes. Over the past 3 seasons, Severson averaged 22.5 minutes of ice time or more. This year, he averages 18 minutes. This change allows for the Devils to ice Severson against weaker opponents, ensuring his defensive struggles aren't exploited as much while still using his offense on the second power play unit. Brendan Smith rounds out the defensive group, probably being the weakest link on the back end, but still a good defensive partner for the offensively oriented Severson. The Devils probably only have one true top-pairing defenseman in Dougie Hamilton, but all of Marino, Siegenthaler, Graves, and Severson are quality top 4 D-men that could fill in additional ways if needed. The strength of the New Jersey Devils skaters as a whole is their quality depth. On paper, every individual player looks to be doing great in their role. The Devils currently have the second highest goal differential, ranking top 3 in goals for and just outside it in goals against. They're second in the NHL in league-wide standings, with their only real competitors currently being the Boston Bruins and Vegas Golden Knights. In terms of advanced stats, the team looks even more impressive. Expected goals for, second. Expected goals against, first. And in the expected goal differential, not only are the New Jersey Devils first, but at a differential of 27.33, this is more than 11 higher than the second place Vegas Golden Knights, nearly doubling their tally of 15.94. This is a team that deserves to be fighting for the President's Trophy, and according to all stats, the success is sustainable long-term. On a 12-game win streak, the Devils are obviously the best team in the NHL right now. But because of the way they play, the way the team is built, and the sky-high confidence levels the whole team must have, there's no reason to believe that the Devils can't still be the best team in the NHL by year's end.